Here we are at the Cinnamon Grand for a fabulous interview with Brekke Fletcher, who's the executive editor of CNN Travel and Digital, in Sri Lanka for the first time, I believe, and already spent some time traveling around the cultural triangle. I'm going to put her on the spot and just ask her exactly how it feels. Brekke, wonderful welcome to Sri Lanka.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, you get to spend a lot of time with all the official stats and figures and all of that on the travel desk, but here you are now in Sri Lanka on your own, traveling and experiencing Sri Lanka for the first time. How does it feel?
It feels like it's a privilege. I had very little in my preconceived notions about Sri Lanka before I came. I did some research, obviously, but more than anything, I was pleased to discover that you really can't know a place until you've been there. And when I landed in Habanada, I was immediately just overwhelmed with the natural beauty of this place.
A different experience.
A different experience, but something wholly just affecting. It's a beauty that penetrates the soul almost immediately. So you know you're somewhere old and special, historic and significant,
and
natural and unspoiled.
Brilliant stuff. So, you absorb all of that, and you start to feel a little bit more about the country.
Yes, I mean, the more you see, the more you feel that. It's the first impression seems going to be the last impression. Other than it's just gotten deeper as I've learned more, as I've explored the UNESCO heritage sites and climbed Sigiriya, it saw as much as I could in the limited time that I was here. And every place I saw had this stillness, this exquisite stillness and quiet, and just a bewildered awe at how the ancient civilizations were able to create these extraordinary buildings and carve these extraordinarily beautiful images into rock and reverse engineer gravity so water goes up instead of down, and it's just very hard to put into words, which is ironically my job, how extraordinary it is to be able to witness that firsthand and just walk in the same places that these people, thousands of years ago walked, and never seem to make any mistakes because everything is pretty much perfect. The stuff that's intact. The reclining Buddha, which was in Yes. So just seeing that and getting up close, well, not too close, a little bit of a barrier so nobody gets in there, but seeing as well as I could, just the detail and just imagining the man, the woman, whoever was chiseling that, and the skill and the patience. It's beyond my comprehension as a 21st century person to imagine sitting still like that and doing that kind of work.
Well, the patience and the skill and the experience of all of that, but coming from New York, of course, I can imagine the shock and the cultural shock of being somewhere 2,600 years old and still very relevant, as you said, perfect, pristine, preserved, and still functional.
And beyond that, it's got this amazing energy. New York is known for its pulsing, intense vibe. This energy it's more still. It's extraordinarily it's penetrating
and as powerful.
And powerful in a different way. But I wouldn't say they're so dissimilar, because yes, New York's a vibrant metropolis, and I've traveled a great deal to places like this, but in terms of just a tropical island, Hawaii or whatever. Sure. This is something else. This is something, the French say the je ne sais quoi. There's something here that vibrates.
Well, it's true. It sort of occupies the mind and then fills the senses and takes it all up. I mean, like you said, coming from New York, the metropolis, the buzzing metropolis. And then here we are in Polonnaruwa, or Sigiriya for that matter, where the king spent a lot of time thinking about what he wanted as a future and how to secure it. And here you are experiencing the same thing.
Yes.
It's amazing for us in Sri Lanka as well to have somebody like you visit and then experience that and then see the same way we feel as well. History is part of our lives. We live it on a daily basis. compared to the metropolis and the buzz in New York, and here we are in Sri Lanka. It's a similar story in one sense because history repeating itself, and we are the generation that live it and breathe it. But for you, when you look at all the work that you do on the digital platform, for example, how do you see Sri Lanka and its position in terms of the next step?
I mean, I think it's getting more people to know about Sri Lanka as a destination that has more than just beautiful beaches. I think from my perspective, at least in the American market, that's sort of the overarching thing is like, oh, you have an amazing beach holiday and relax and cut off. And Sri Lanka is just so much more than that. And I think that the only way to find that out is to come here and spend some time in the Cultural Triangle, to connect with the history of this place and understand it in a historical context, and recognize that there are echoes of the past in every corner. And what's happening here now as Sri Lanka grows as a tourist destination is an opportunity for tourist visitors to feel something that's unspoiled and that's emerging, even though it's so old and has so much history. For many a traveler, it's going to be a new experience, and they're going to get so much out of it.
Well, it certainly is. I mean, like you said, the conventional tags are always there about the beautiful beaches and the experience and the eco-friendly stories, the people and the friendly smiles. But like you said, history is an intermittent part of all that. And then we have the wildlife and the eco-realities.
Oh yes, all the wildlife.
It's an alphabet of experience, really.
Yes, it truly is. And you mentioned wildlife and being able to see the gathering of the elephants, as I got to do on this trip, and stand quietly and watch them feed, and mothers feed their babies, and they lined up in formation and walked into the water. It's so breathtaking and so beautiful and so quiet. And that's something that I truly feel like, particularly anybody who lives in an urban area is always in search of silence. And this silence compared with, the silence coupled with this majesty, this gorgeous, magnificent creatures working together, walking together in this just almost militaristic style. It just boggles the mind, And again, this isn't just happening for me because I'm here in Sri Lanka, and then they're like, okay, cue elephants. Like this is me intruding on them.
It's not set up just for Brekke Fletcher.
Yes, it's not. It's not like it's not like somebody behind there like hitting the elephants. It really does. It feels like you're witnessing magic.
Well, it is that. I mean, the elephant is the biggest around in the world today, and they're closest to the dinosaurs.
Yes.
And between the elephant and the whale, we have both of it in
Yes.
Sri Lanka, both luxuries. And you get to see it, and you saw it and lived it and smelt it and felt it. It is staggering the way they look after their young. Like I said, the militaristic ability for them to march from A to B, their path, and they have it all mapped out. And Sri Lanka and the Minaria tank where you were is an elephant gathering water hole, which is one of our best. So you got the best out of it.
I was so blessed to be here at that time during that elephant gathering. I didn't know for sure. They said the end of September, and I'm like, how much do they stick to this calendar? Is it like the week before the end of September going to work? And thank goodness it did. And I got to see these incredible herds doing various things, but mostly just living out their lives with the intrusive eyes of this American journalist, trying not to cry because it's just so exceptional, to be privileged enough to witness something like that is, I'll never forget it. And I will be eternally grateful for the chance that I've got to come here, and I truly need to get back. I know that's the thing I think I'll bring back and hopefully share with our readers, is that this country is worth a second visit.
Oh, wonderful. I mean, just the expression of you talking about an American journalist and then one-on-one with the elephants at Minaria and the whole pack wandering around aimlessly, just very, it's the digital reality out of that is you being yourself. And then being one with nature, for me, that is more than an experience. It's just almost surreal. We're talking about hundreds and thousands of years of evolution, and here you are now. And we are right at the top of it with your digital platform.
Yes.
And we're right at the back of it with the elephant still being there, looking after its young, and being able to trunk up and talk to you in the same way. Life.
Yes, life, and travel is life. It's witnessing life. If you don't take the opportunities that you get to see other parts of the world, you miss out on this magic, on this extraordinary planet that is all of ours to share. And I want to focus with CNN Travel on joy and happiness and finding these moments of peace and glory whenever you can.
On that note, as travel editor for CNN, I mean, it's a huge responsibility. You have a massive network. But I rather think, a lot of people said a lot of things to me about you in the brief and what to do and what to say and what not to say. But you bring happiness in a way.
Yes.
You're a bringer of happiness in that sense, because you create pictures, and that is very serious.
That is my responsibility and my privilege.
The ability to do that is huge.
It's important. I think, it's a very difficult world we're living in now. Things feel unsettled and uncertain, but I think what we can do in the travel space is an exceptional counter-programming of sadness and difficulty and conflict. You get to think of travel as a way to take a break from the realities of day-to-day life by engaging in the realities of someone else's day-to-day life, someone else's experience. And it's humbling. It's humbling, and I think we need a little bit more humility in this world. And I think humility, ironically, leads to more joy, because you begin to really appreciate the things that you have when you step out of your comfort zone.
True. On that note, we're going to take a quick break. Brekke Fletcher, thank you very much. Wonderful to have you here. We're going to have a little break on art, and when we come back, we're going to test a little bit more on that reality between the humanities of life and love. Welcome back to Art TV. Here we are now with Brekke Fletcher, who's traveling through Sri Lanka, who's been here for a couple of days and had the whole experience with the elephants at the Minaria tank, Habarana, then flew over Sri Lanka as well. Flying over Sri Lanka is a whole new experience. That is just the other dimension of life. How did it feel?
I mean, I felt like a celestial object, for what some people call God. Like there is this perspective that you get when you're flying over a place
with clouds next to you
and whizzing by. And I wish I could put, again, the words keep failing me, and it's my job, but I'm not at my computer where I can edit everything. But what I felt when I was passing over various villages and beautiful rivers and glorious mountain peaks, I could see how lush and green and alive this island is. It is pulsating with life, and that is something you can't manufacture that, no matter how hard you try. You can feel when something's alive, and you can feel how old it is. You can feel that it's been here. There's no trees that were planted yesterday. These are things that naturally grow here.
That green canopy you can breathe. That oxygen is very special.
Smells. I mean, the smells. I went to the Royal Botanical Garden and just smelled all of the wonderful fauna and flora.
And the colors.
I saw the colors. The monkeys playing with each other, and a group of families having a picnic and on the Great Lawn, and part of me felt at home, just for that little moment. I forgot that I wasn't in my home, I was at home.
Well, there you go. So executive editor, CNN Travel, digital, experiencing life as it is, with no frills or nothing about it. It's just as is. The green canopy, the grass, the animals, families. And that's something in Sri Lanka we embrace. It's just about being natural as possible. And we believe in that. I mean, I understand the digital realities of life, but as you said, it's maybe combining the two that makes it so very special.
It's the opportunity of the 21st century, isn't it? To bring parts of the world that would otherwise be completely off limits into the palm of your hand, And I think what we have to do as journalists, as editors, is provide our users with access and using our words and using images and using video, which is a huge priority for CNN Travel this year, getting people to know places through people.
Like Sri Lanka. And you were telling me about the digital realities of Sri Lanka being on that list and places to travel in 2017.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, we used experts in the locations to talk about why their places are the places to go. And I think what they try to do is point out one very special aspect, and it was one of the national parks. We talk about, so we found a local expert to tell us what her favorite part of the country was, and she picked one of the national parks. And it just gives you the sense of, if you only come for one reason, come and experience the natural beauty of this place and be inside of it and be a part of it. And
live and breathe it.
Live and breathe it. Walk through it, I take off your shoes, as Americans, never take off our shoes.
That would have been an experience.
Yeah,
as well.
It was a real experience. And I took off my shoes to enter temple and monastery. And that's also fantastic, and you see all the slippers around and you just kick off your Adidas and off you go. And it was extraordinary just to feel the earth. Sorry, I'm going to make a song.
No,
I feel the earth. Okay, the earth move under my feet. Like, it's extraordinary. Because then you're walking where these people who are the lifeblood of this country, the ancient civilizations, we're walking.
Absolutely, and we're talking about 2,600 years of history, and you walk where kings have walked before, and that's a surreal experience in every sense of the word.
It is, and it's important to be mindful of that, when you're traveling, of what the history is, and understanding as much of the context of where you are as possible. Also, just to be sensitive, Americans, a loud American, what do they call that? The loud American caricature.
I'll let you say that one.
Well, I will say it, I'll happily say it, just because it's important. It's my job to remind people that we have a responsibility. We're ambassadors for America when we go visit, and we need to be good guests. We need to listen. We need to ask questions. We need to learn, and and we need to feel comfortable, because we have to trust that our hosts and the locals who make these places special are going to take care of us. And I've been so well taken care of and looked after, and tuk-tuk driver last night was we just laughed on our drive back from the restaurant, and just made a joke about, let's go to McDonald's. He's like, oh, you don't mean it? I'm like, no, I'm just joking. And it's just a very welcoming, fun, loving, warm locality. People want to say hello to you. People want to smile at you. I was in the park, I remember, the Royal Botanical Gardens. I saw so many kids with their families, and I just couldn't stop smiling at these little kids, and they just smiled right back. And it was the international language of happiness, of smiling, of looking somebody in the eye, which we, as a digital editor, I know we don't get a lot of that, like one-to-one, but my job is using that platform, the CNN Travel platform, to encourage people to get out there and see these people that they, would consider foreigners as other human beings. They are just like you and we're all the same. We're all human beings.
True. Absolutely. And you were talking about that digital platform and the reality of the experience. And for you as an editor, it's about bringing that whole thing of translating words into pictures, into reality, to what you experience, you can touch and feel and breathe. And you've been there and seen it.
I have, and I can't tell you how privileged I feel to have been able to come here and see this beautiful country and plan my next trip.
We'll have to plan that together, I think.
Yes.
Digital realities, of course. Sri Lanka in a place, Asia as a region. For CNN is a vital part of your travel.
It's extraordinarily important. We've had from the CNN brand, which is 30 plus years old, always has been a global brand. And this Asia Pacific region is a huge priority for us because there's so many, not only people who want to visit here into this, this large region, but people who are from this region who want to travel within the region, and people from the region who want to get the heck out of the region, and come to the United States or go to South America. So our job is to be mindful that travelers are from everywhere, and that our audience are globally curious. They are aware that they are part of a big, beautiful world, and they're smart and curious, and they want to know as much as they can, and they want to have experiences that are life-altering, and they want to make everyone jealous by sharing it on Instagram.
Absolutely, and it's a reality now. It's not just something you talk about, it's actually what you live through. Wonderful stories, of course, and looking forward on that little platform you talk about, and people sharing people and experiencing people as well. It's massive, and I suppose it is really the next step of travel, being able to see it, feel it, read it, and then experience the whole gamut of it.
Yes, I think hopefully one day you'll be able to see a photograph of a place and make a decision within seconds if you need to about going there, or being reminded to go there, or ask for information so that you can learn about the place so you can figure out what the best time is to go there. That's CNN's mantra, go there, and we mean it, CNN Travel. We really, really want people to...
And you live it.
We live it. I live it. Our whole team lives it. We have a great group of people all over the world, so we make sure that we're covering every last place we can think of with some expertise, This isn't me calling up, Dubai and saying, hey, what's your best hotel? It's like, no, I get Barry Neild from the London office to go to Dubai and check it all out for us, come back and tell us the story. Yes. So we are travelers. We are not distanced. We need to be in there. And if we can't be in there, we find people who are qualified journalists who live or frequently travel to locations to give us the information that we need to know so we can share with our readers a real, authentic experience that isn't manufactured from some press release that we received.
Brekke Fletcher, as executive editor, of course, it's a huge network that you command, a huge amount of correspondence and the whole of CNN and that massive, wonderful world. And then Sri Lanka is the other end of it. History combined with our cultural experience, the economic realities, and the eco-friendliness, and the whales and the elephants, and all of that. You're going to come back.
Yes, I think I need some of this peace and quiet and some of this stillness and some of this warmth in my life again, because it's a truly unique and extraordinary experience to be here and to come here. And although it's a small island, there is so much diversity and so many different parts and places to explore. I can't wait to get to the coast and see the whales for myself. I only got to see the elephants this time.
And the dolphins too.
And the dolphins, which I love. So hopefully I'll be back, in the not too far away future.
Brekke Fletcher, thank you very much for the time and talking to us on our TV. It's a very, very big privilege and a real pleasure. And I expect you'll be back and we shall travel together.
I would love to take a trip with you anytime.
Pleasure.